Agent 881, contact 122.030, goodbye.
2030, Gian 881, good day.
Turkish 1953 level 30.
Hello, Turkish 1953, radar contact.
Hello, hello, hello
Jet Airways
this
235, flight level
evening.
350.
Good afternoon, Jet Airways 235, radar contact.
I do hope everyone is well. A few people rambling in tonight. We have Allison Johnson, who's just watching tonight. Welcome, welcome. Scotland's here. Welcome, good friend. Lukester's got the host already. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Cat Bat's also here. Welcome, welcome. And Tortuga. Welcome to everyone this fine evening. And Warhamster. So I decided to make a nice trip to the Mediterranean. I had the other day heard somebody mentioned something about Malta, so here we are. Starting at Malta, we'll make a quick hop up to Sicily. From there we go to mainland of Italy, the boot, if you will. Make a couple of stops there. Red Dragon's here. Welcome. Merlin Flyer, welcome. Hope everyone is well. I'm doing okay. Small bit of a headache, but nothing I can't work through today. So here we are at Malta. Lima, Mike, Lima. We, pardon me, we are using FS radio chatter, FS ATC chatter, I should say. Along with Sim Toolkit Pro. Lansky is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope everyone is well. So, not only are we in Malta, because why not do something a bit different? We're in the DA-40, which is something I don't have a lot of experience flying, as we already have friends gathered around. Now, I will say that I am flying the mod, the community mod for the DA-40. So, and the startup procedure seems to be rather interesting. Not quite as straightforward as something like a Cessna. So, as much as I think I'm doing things correctly, no idea to confirm that. Just be careful. Just be careful. So, we've got the engine started. We have our avionics gauge. Go ahead and adjust our CDI. Get our options set for the flight. Gonna go ahead and get our AP settings engage or set, so that once we're up in the air and on course, we can just hit one button and be on the go. We're gonna set our altitude to 5,500 feet at 500 feet per minute climb. K-Hove Gaming. But I keep left clicking. Roger that, Scotland. So we should be all set, other than I have to move around for the barometer. It's not a bad phrase. I can neither confirm nor deny. I'm always looking for new merch options. Speaking of merch, I do have the new design up and running as the base level. My 47 Echo cleared for takeoff shirt has, merch has gone to be a Twitch subscriber exclusive. But they're still available. Alright. So, it's looking like the windsock that I saw is pointing down this runway that we're right next to. So I think that's going to be the one we use for takeoff.
Would you please take in for Finnair 47 uniform? You were quite unreadable. Finnair 47 uniform, how do you read me now? Reading you 5 now. Thank you, descent level 260, 1500 feet per minute on grid. Descent level 260, 1500, come on Finnair 47 uniform.
Well, our lights should mostly be set. I'm gonna go ahead and get in the air. and let everyone load in, get started up, and they can have liftoff. All right. Go ahead and slowly advance the throttle. Keep it on the center line as best as possible. Well, that's why it says best as possible. So we have a nice climb going on. We're about to hit 300 feet above the surface. Flaps are going up. Light back pressure on the yoke to allow the speed to come up and therefore the climb to stabilize. Maintain heading for a little bit as we leisurely climb. As we get over the cliff face, we will make a casual right-hand turn. In a slow fashion. Kind of give us a nice look at the island as we depart the area. I tested out this first leg last night on my own time. I say my own time, that's somewhat misleading. On non-streaming hours. Just to make sure it was going to be reasonable, and it is. Malta is not that big of an island, but it looks like a nice island to be on. Very nice. I don't personally know how I could reconcile living on an island, although if I did, being in the Mediterranean seems like it'd be a better option than something in the Atlantic or the Pacific directly. As the reflections want to blind us, it would seem. And we'll maintain heading 050 for right now, while we let everybody get up in the air and get their approach stabilized, or departure stabilized. Now, fun fact about the DA-40 that I learned last night is the United States Air Force adopted these for primary training and designated them the T-52 before replacing them with SR-20s and designating those the T-53. Lucky enough, there is an Air Force paint scheme that somebody has done for this airplane. That's what I was flying around with last night. Yes, no, I do like the 182. It's just a bit too loud in a general sense. So I find it difficult to, not go insane with it being so loud. So as we approach the magenta line, I'm going to go ahead and engage the autopilot. Which will take us to our cruise altitude of 5,500 feet. Because we are heading in a slightly easterly direction, the rule of thumb is you fly at an odd 1,000 feet and add 500 for VFR flying. This is to maintain traffic separation, to avoid as many mid-air collisions as humanly possible. And I didn't turn on nav mode. Let's try that again. I do like the 182. I'm waiting with very intently for Carenado to move over their Cessna 337 because it's such a cool airplane, and as much as I would fly it in FSX, it's hard to go back to FSX visuals if I'm completely honest. After experiencing these as much as we have, or I have. Hey Murphy, how you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm getting by. Anything is too quiet or too loud, be sure to let me know so I can dial it in properly. As we get to the cruise altitude, I will set cruise power. We'll put load percentage right about 75. Reset the view and get a nice outside look at Malta. That's fair. Bush flying can do that. Yeah, I was into having a nice relaxing flight myself today because, I don't know, I just woke up and kind of had a headache and kind of the weather outside is very conducive to napping. So a nice relaxing flight was what the simulation doctor ordered. I don't remember the last game of chess that I had, Murph. And it was probably against the computer, and they always win. I think the computer cheats. Then again, one could say rules are meant to be broken, and if you're not cheating, you're not doing it right. But that's a more of a philosophical sort of argument, I'd suppose. It's definitely a good strategy tester sorts. So you can lower the engine noise and engage the headsets. Fair enough. I hate moving the settings around per airplane because most of them are fine, but the 182 is always generally louder, and although there is a third-party mod for the MB339, which is a godsend, as it were, lowering the volume of that because holy cow, that one's really loud. Definitely an interesting airplane. Not a whole lot to it. But certainly a fairly unique style. So it has a similar look to it as the Cirrus, with subtle differences. I think you get a lot more forward visibility out of this than you would the SR-22, which I believe to be advantageous. No, not that I'm aware of. The fuel switch has normal, emergency, and off, so I can only assume that it has two tanks, but it uses them equally, and that kind of backs it up the way the fuel gauge is right now. Although the fuel temperature, which is an interesting instrument, Apparently the left tank is warmer than the right tank. Yes, but to what I'm aware of, I haven't needed to do any fuel transferring. Yeah, fuel transfer. Ironically, no. The left tank is on the shadow side. So I think that's just weird. Flew the DA-40 about 12 years ago. Very nice. I was taking lessons toward a PPL. Realized I'd end up living in a skip if I kept it up. Yeah, flying is not cheap. Granted, it's more expensive to get it. Keeping it's not as bad, but it's, I mean, nothing to do with aviation's cheap by any stretch of the imagination. There are certainly some more or less affordable options depending on budgets, but it is not a cheap thing to do. I kind of figured as much. I took by the context, it was kind of the equivalent of living in a van down by the river. Living the Matt Foley life, as it were. You young people may not get that reference. Although that may also be more of an American reference than anything. Seats look rather nice, I'll give it that. I mean, and you can't argue with the fact that it comes with cup holders. So this first leg is probably the shortest of the legs. Pretty sure I set the weather to live. I did. Welcome along, Jan Morecamp. Hope you're well. Doing better. Just on about halfway through our first leg. That wouldn't surprise me. As far as I know, that is correct. I can move my mixture lever and it does nothing. That's good to hear, Jan. Catbat, I am running the community mod for the DA-40, so some of the notes said that it had some differing or like quote-unquote corrected performance values and so on. So I couldn't tell you. I don't think I've flown the stock version, so I can't compare. I cannot compare the performance differences. Allison says that it has a fuel management system. These newfangled airplanes and their fancy systems. Almost to Scicily. Jan Morecamp just subscribed. Why, thank you, my friend. I do appreciate it. Good to know that the notifications are also working. I've had my doubts. If I'm quite honest, I have had my doubts if those are working. At least for YouTube. I have slowed down a bit to see if that helps with people keeping pace. I'm at about 112. Indeed. Well, for a lot of reasons, it's a good thing that we had it this year. With everything that's gone on over the world, it's definitely been a strong blessing to have Flight Sim. I've been quite grateful. Nice. Yeah, I've yet to use my two-tone Murphy mug, but it's not the special one. It's not the one from the giveaways, but it's the special limited edition logs mug. I have yet to christen it. I was going to do it last night and just didn't get to it. Yes, I had to. I felt obligated that, you know, how could I be a true two-tone Murphy founder club member without the logs special edition mug. Available now on Teespring. And it says, a tasty beverage. I was going to christen it with some Evan Williams, kind of a cheaper version of Jack Daniels, which is actually still pretty good as far as a brown liquor. I was just waiting for my ice to freeze. Only fit for the finest of bread, including water. Well, water is important. It is probably the most important beverage that we as human beings can. But my ice wasn't ready last night, so I may christen it later in the flight. Ah, yes, cinnamon tea. I'm more of a... I've got some hot cider, non-alcoholic, because here's the fun part about cider. In Europe, you say cider and it's instantly considered alcoholic, where here you say cider and it's a non-alcoholic beverage by default. And if you want the alcoholic cider, you have to get a hard cider. I think I'd have gone crazier by now otherwise. Yes, absolutely, Allison. Without Flight Sim, I think we'd all be a bit more frazzled, as it were. So also have a nice Yeti mug that I got from my former employer for the first Christmas that I was there. I think it's the 20-ounce version. Use it all that much, but it's a nice mug that I've used for hot chocolate and for some hot cider before, but 'tis the season. I'm flying in the modded bands. I like the extra bit of power, and that's the only I don't use the turbo version. I just use the standard Bonanza. I do like it. It's a little overpowered compared to this, but that's just a different aircraft. But I do use the Community Bonanza because it's modeled with the proper engine. I used to use the working title G1000 mod, but it has some glitches that I've been noticing, specifically when editing the flight plan or the Direct 2. It'll stop functioning, and so I don't know if that has been reported or not. I haven't really looked into it. But that's also a nice mod to pair with the Bonanza and even anything else running the G1000. So like the Caravan and such. But I like the non-turbo community mod for the Bonanza. It makes it a lot more a lot easier to keep up with the Mooney, as long as the the flight leader isn't running on rental power, because it does a nice job of keeping up. A bit more roomy than the Mooney. I kind of wish they had the Bonanza with the steam gauges instead of the G1000. If there's one mildly disappointing thing about the aircraft selection that of the default planes of Flight Sim is I'm a little disappointed that there's so many aircraft with the G1000 and not enough with the steam gauge, especially when you consider the base edition of Flight Sim. But that also kind of boils down to a personal preference of sorts. So we're just about over the land. Yes. As is tradition. So this one, last night when I was testing out, kind of snuck up on me. Although, to be fair, it was my own fault. We're 13 and change miles out. Should be somewhere over this hill. And we'll be looking for runway 05. And that matches up with the METAR. So we're going to go ahead and disable the autopilot, reduce power, and kind of swing out this way to get on a proper approach and start a descent. Ooh. Yay. It's just on the other side of the river. Ah, no, I've done that. That, I believe, is it. That certainly looks like an airport to me, right there. So I will make sure to try to get landed first, so that I can catch everyone else's landings. And my automated chat bot has just put the link to my store, should you feel the desire to buy some merch. I try to keep it as tasteful as possible. So it's not flashy, and it matches my personality. I'm not much of a flashy person. Mount Etna. We shall be flying past Mount Etna. Upon our departure from Scicily. Yeah, no sequence. No sequins, no frills. We line up for our final approach. And on the left hand on the yoke, right hand on the throttle. Well, see, you're also the captain of the aerobatics team, so you might be required to have some sequins on your uniform, so I wouldn't get too comfortable just yet. Last notch of flaps down. This will be my second landing in the DA-40 ever. Tassels? I think we can make an exception to give you some tassels. Okay, we're over the threshold. Over the piano keys number and the touchdown zone. How about that? That was a nice 25 foot a minute. I'll take this first turn. I couldn't have done that if I had planned it. So I'll get clear of the runway. mind the bump in the taxiway. Yep, stopped up here. Go ahead and get the name tags on. Yeah, I think there's a lot of encoding differences between YouTube and Twitch. It's kind of lends to my opinion that Twitch is the superior streaming platform. So I've already missed Tortuga. Missed his landing. Oh, and that was landing with a tailwind. How about that? That's fine. As Warhamster comes in.
Bonjour, descent flight level 150 and direct to LIT. Descent level 150, that's sweet, about 5 to ticket.
Giving her a nice float. And bottoms down. Next up we have Red Dragon. And Red Dragon seems to be down. Ooh, that's a hard right, or hard left. We didn't wait for the taxiway. Looks like USA PR1 is next. Or is it Merlin Flyers? Hard to tell. Good evening, Keen. That's okay. I'm glad you stopped by regardless. You're welcome for as long as you're able to be here. And the weather today here is not in the sim, but in real life, has felt a lot like some of the few times that I've flown out of Donegal, just super windy and gray and cloudy. Maybe a little precipitation.
Turn right 10 degrees of spacing.
Right 10 degrees surface, man, 64 Whiskey.
USAPR is entering the threshold. In either the Baron or the DA-62.
Alpha, flight level 380 inbound to Bokno.
Finance Golf Alpha, bonjour, direct to Bokno.
That's clear, 23 Golf Alpha.
Merlin Flyer a little off screen. In Emerald Isle, it's been windy all day and started raining about 2 hours. It sounds about like the same weather I've got here in Michigan. Really windy, a little bit of precipitation, but gray and miserable. And there's Scotland 737 on final approach. Ooh, that's a hard drop. That's a hard drop. Saved it with a bit of a float. A nice firm landing from Scotland. Well done, sir. And inbound Merlin. Over the threshold. And Merlin Flyer's down as he tries to avoid Scotland. So up here on the ramp, we have myself, Tortuga, Warhamster, and Bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the name tags.
So Dimension 9 Victor Whiskey, bonjour, maintain level 340 and turn right 10 degrees for spacing. 10 degrees, Dimension 9 Victor.
Fair enough. And also, welcome, Chippy. Glad to have you along. This should already be set. Africa. Lights. New flight. Manual aim. Let's see here. All right. Windy in the northeast as well. Fair enough. Sounds like at least like we've got similar weather wherever we are. So we're gonna go ahead and meander our way down to the proper end of the runway, so that we're not taking off with a tailwind. Torrential rain. Well, I guess with everybody's weather being kind of poopy, it's a good thing we're flying where the weather's actually pretty nice. Have to go. Need to do some last minute study for the exams. Well, you study well, my friend, and focus hard, and we wish you the best of luck, and break a leg. I did did a live weather and nighttime IFR flight in Scotland evening. I can imagine. That doesn't sound exciting. Ooh, I just heard a call for Ryanair. And I'll admit, I hear a lot of jokes about Ryanair on the Two-Tone Murphy streams, and they escape me because that's not they're not someone that an airline that flies too often over here, other than international, that I can understand, that I'm aware of. The jokes are beyond me. But I gather that they're rather Spartan in what they offer, and perhaps a little rough on their landings. Oh my, that's pretty rough. A cheaper version of Southwest. And Southwest isn't exactly known for being expensive. Oof. That's a big oof. Big 00 oof. Alright, we're here down at the approach. Make sure that everybody's caught up. There's 3 of us. 4 of us. I see a 5 of us. So we're going to go ahead and get rolling then. Roger that. That's fair. That's logic that could be applied to a lot of things. Okay, so we're gonna take off trim. I went to the US to study Southwest. Who basically applied their methods in Europe with a mix of Irish and interesting. When you slowly apply the throttle. Hoping that's just as our nose naturally wants to lift up, and off we go into the wild blue yonder. Off we go into the sky. And it's 300 feet, flaps are going up. Flight back pressure on the yoke while the climb stabilizes. And we begin to adjust trim. We'll begin to make a slight left turn, climbing left turn. As we all get airborne. And it looks like we're all up, so I'll go ahead and re-engage the autopilot after I set the vertical speed. And autopilot engaged. And our flaps are up. I have to say, this isn't too shabby of a little airplane. I wish it had steam gauges, but that's a nitpick. That is an honest nitpick. I think there should be there needs to be more steam gauge camp. And I was looking back at some of my old screenshots before MSFS came out, when I was doing a lot of flying in the Cessna 337 from Coronado in FSX and the Cessna 172N from Coronado, and just looking at the instrument panels, it's just like, wow, that's different, because the radio stack in the Coronado 172N is it's a lot more in line than what I'm familiar with, and something you'd have found in the 70s, which is nice because it gives you that old feel, which I think is to a certain degree more common in the general aviation world. But it is what it is. So we slowly climb out of Scicily. Can probably reduce throttle just a hair to let everybody not get too far behind. Yes, more steam gauges, 100%. So Leary quote, what part of non-refundable ticket is merch idea? Colonel Fork 6-pack steam gauges. There's an idea. It's definitely one that I'm going to have to spend some time on, because I just had a great idea for it too. I just had another one. Oh, my brain. When it works, which isn't very often. Oh, I just had a brilliant idea, but I don't know if I can pull it off. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, that's such a good idea. I'll have to work on that. I'll have to work on that as an idea. Because it just popped into my head. We're almost at cruise altitude. That sounds it. Oh, for sure. Trust me, when I have a thought or an idea, you might want to wear a hard hat or potentially some body armor because things are going to get interesting. No wonder that I have a headache right now. Italy is definitely on my bucket list of places I need to visit. Okay, we're at cruise altitude, so we're going to reduce power to a degree of which everybody can keep up. Hopefully.
Okay, we're gonna expedite a little bit from until which level do you want that?
Let's look at that. Hey, G Slayer, how you doing today? I'm glad you're along for the flight. Good to hear. Good to hear. Good evening, ailerons into the wind. How are you this morning? Morning? Afternoon? Good evening? Good night? I don't know what time of day it is anymore. It's morning in the sim. And Catbat's back. Catbat is back. Back again. Guess who's back? Oh, a friend. I have to admit, this thing from the outside sounds kind of like a lawnmower. Or a weed whacker. Like an angry weed whacker. Ah, the internet gremlins. Think Murphy has sent them your way, I guess. Yeah, ailerons, I'm sorry I missed your stream that you did this morning, but I was still sleeping. I didn't even sleep all that well, to be honest. I hope the bush flying was exciting. I'll have to watch the stream back. Now, once we get to this airport, I may risk turning off generic models to see if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's quite odd. I would much prefer being able to see everybody's multiplayer aircraft for what they're actually flying. But it doesn't make sense to have the sim crash all the time. Certain that Asobo is aware of the phenomenon, but I don't know what they could do to fix it. So do you recall where you downloaded it? I believe it was from flightsim.to. I believe I posted it in Two-Tone Murphy's modded aircraft section. They also have a mod for the DA-62. Oh, we got a little Firefly out there. Not a problem. Oh dear. The chop. Oh no! If I had planned out a longer flight, I could have very easily gone with the MB339. But as a fan of the low and slow, even though I do enjoy the MB339, it's just a little fast to take in the sights properly, in my opinion. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Maybe I won't try a little... Maybe I won't try turning off the generic models. Yeah. That's very curious. And it happened right as I kind of had a big stutter. That's interesting. Evil Breed Green. If in the world, yes, anywhere in the world, you can go to Antarctica, Russia, China, Australia, Papua New Guinea, Europe, South America, anywhere. You can go to Indiana. Lots of little airports in Indiana. I've been there before. For this flight, we're just making a flight here in Italy. But maybe next time. I'm just gonna 10. Yeah, no. Warhamster is definitely the head honcho of the aerobatics and formation flying division of the flying circus, and we've got to give him a uniform that has tassels on it, because he'd rather have tassels than sequins, apparently. Well, hello. It's a brake left. That sounds like it could be quite fun. It's got to coordinate times and all. There's an airport right down there. It seems that a fair chunk of the gang has caught up. And weather has changed, maybe the reason for it. It's possible. Although it hasn't changed on mine, it seems. Take note, 918. And... oh. And now we cross our fingers and hope that it didn't break, and it seems to be fine. Yeah, I don't know. I think the live weather for me is just refusing to cooperate, which is what it is. But there's ways around that, just to see what it's like. So we'll go into the weather tab, make sure that we will keep an eye on the time. I'll back that up just there we go. And now we wait and see what happens. I believe that's Mount Etna. And so that option is also not working. Well, fine. Since those don't want to cooperate, it says thunderstorm that I loaded in, clear skies with thunder sound, maybe. Yeah, I'm looking at let's see, where's that autumn? Autumn sun. Gotcha. Thank you for the compliment. What do you need? You need to realize is I hand fly information because there's nothing wrong with that. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So, for the record, I just went to Autumn Sun from the SoFly presets. Let's see. .95 feet, so we're going to drop the altitude down bit to 3,500 feet. And we'll do vertical speed 500 feet. Yeah, that's the great thing about having the Discord is being able to coordinate where things are and how to find things. And Murphy, being the generous fellow he is, sharing the community is such a wonderful thing. No, I mean, especially you get a lot of bang for the buck out of the SoFly presets. You get 50 extra weather presets, and it's like $10 US, give or take. So even, you know, about €8 or €9, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's a real bargain. So bear in mind we have reduced altitude. We are aiming for 3,500 feet. Yes! It'll be under the engineering wing. Some of the modded aircraft ended up in the aircraft section. Just because the Discord channel has evolved a little bit as things have changed. I do welcome everyone on my Discord channel. It's not as active or as, what's the word, complete as Murphy's channel is, but I'm a little Spartan comparatively, but try to cover the basics, some extra gaming, some music, share what if you're listening to really into some music, you want to share it with other people, there's a channel for that. channel for updates on things like VATSIM and POSCON and Flight Sim, and things that get automatically posted as the other Discord servers post news. I post there when I go live, and usually post the flight route on there as well. I mean, so far the only thing that's really caught me off guard recently has been the Irish country music, the real diddly idle. I still can't wrap my head around it. It's some interesting stuff. And I blame nobody but Murphy for that. I'm not digging the haze. So we'll cut that down just a bit. I mean, I'll say this: it's a lot better than a lot of modern American music. I can tell you that for sure. I would rather listen to that than a lot of things that they play on the radio these days. That I can tell you for certain. You. Bonjour. LIC. Still getting in, checking out. I don't know if there's been any updates to the FS ATC chatter beta, but it's real fun figuring out how it all works. It's really great. It's a real neat program for sure, and I can't wait to see where it goes. 10 minutes. I need to reacquaint myself with my own Discord server. It's kind of a scary thought. Oh, let's see. We got stuff for the real aviation. Got a place for the AvBot. Place for pictures. Music. News. General chat. Flight plans. Although I don't know if that flight plans channel is going to stick around too much. And for group flights and other gaming. So some nice little channels and doodads and such on there. So, what runway should we expect? We'll probably go with runway 33. So, for now, we're going to go to adjust our heading and go to heading mode. Adjust our heading to 070. Go to heading mode. And 060. So that should be it right there. Okay, we'll adjust that to 040. Just because I don't know how it's going to interact with all the mountain. So I'll get down first, get situated to record the landings. So we'll keep an eye on the situation. That should be the airport. Also, it's right there. It's one of those two outcroppings of land. And my money's on that one. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of a crook in between the two, so we'll keep an eye on the approach. Oh, there's a... Aha, there's a rabbit. So we'll go back to 040. So, beware of terrain, y'all. Because we got to watch out for the mountains as we come in for approach on runway 33. maintain this altitude until we turn in, or until such time as we have to deviate and avoid terrain. Certainly one of the more interesting approaches that I've had in a while. So I'm going to actually go ahead and disable the autopilot now. Because we've got the runway and airport in sight. There's the Rabbit. It's certainly an interesting approach, to be sure. Hey Brick, how you doing? I'm doing okay. Hope you're well. We're flying, we just left Sicily and we're landing on our next to last stop here on mainland Italy. Well, that's good. Glad to hear. Been a while. So as we fly over the city, make our adjustments. One notch of flaps. Allow me some time to get down so I can get positioned for recording landings. There's the middle marker already. Holy cow. As we're way above glide slope, but that's fine.
Radar, cut off 5 Echo Delta, accept. Say again. Cut off 5 Echo Delta, is flight number 350 available? Condor 5 Echo Delta, can you back for that? Thank you.
That looks kind of like a go-kart track. I think overall this is a pretty nice approach, all things considered.
Radar, hello, Ryanair 1, Bravo, flight level 3, 5, correct. Right now, Bravo 1, rolling on the site.
End up being a little low. That's okay. Nothing we can't work with. Over the threshold, piano keys, numbers. A little long of a landing, but that's okay. Keep her on center line as best as possible. How about that? That's not too shabby. So we'll wait until we get to the next taxiway. Our flaps rolled up. So welcome to mainland Italy. Give me a few moments to get situated for the landings.
Bonjour, 550 Hotel, coming flight level 140 to Macau.
Flyer 50 Hotel, bonjour, climb level 190.
Flight level 190, 550 Hotel.
Ooh. And the runway is open for landing.
209, climb flight level 310.
Traffic level 310 to now 209.
Door 5 Echo Delta, proceed direct Biarritz, Bravo Tango Zulu, and for the time being...
Well, first up we have Catbat.
To the next sector if they have a level available. Copy it, direct Bravo Tango Zulu, Condor 5 Echo Delta, maintaining flight level 330.
Very nice stable approach. Nicely done. Well done. Next up is Warhamster. Nice soft landing by the Warhamster. Next up is Fast P84. Fought very closely by Erlansky. Fast Pete is down with a nice touchdown. Erlansky. Very nice. Very nice. Canadian Taz. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Right on the piano keys. That'll buff out. We'll get that buffed out. Scotland's in. A nice firm landing. Very well done. Red Dragon on short final. Thank you, ailerons. Had a little bit of float to mine. Dragon's over the threshold, over the piano numbers, or piano keys and number, and down. Nicely done. And bottom is a little bit of float. Down. Nicely done.
Direct Manac. Manac is V6 Airport there.
All right, so
Level 209, climb flight level 330.
Climbing level 330 to
see
209.
what the so what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a windsock, the airfield first off. The airport not believe in having a windsock? There's a windsock. Where are you going? Yeah, everybody. Okay, so we're gonna take off. From runway 29er. We're gonna fly south around the coastline before we start with the going to the magenta line. So I suppose I shall lead the conga line. I am flying the DA-40NG. That is correct, Brick. Well, trim's okay. Too much. When I logged in again with 182, it crashed, so in X code. Gotcha. Our flaps are up. We're put one notch down just for takeoff. Go ahead and back taxi to get to the departure runway. So we'll stay off to the left if Fast Pete wants to go ahead and get in the pattern. Go ahead. So I will wait a little bit for everybody to get down, get gathered up and get down to the runway. I set the parking brake. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the name tags while I'm thinking about it. And we'll go ahead and get up in the air and do a holding pattern over the airfield. Nice. Smooth takeoff. We maintain runway heading as much as possible. That's 300 feet, so flaps are going up. You have a good night, Allison. Thanks for stopping by. And we will catch you tomorrow. I hope you have a good rest. We'll start a right-hand circle over the field. Make sure everybody's up in the air. Six Knox, welcome. We are currently taking off from Lima, India, Charlie Romeo, which is in one of the southern tips of mainland Italy. We took off from Malta. We stopped in Scicily. And then we stopped here. And we're making our way to Lima, Lima, India, Bravo, Charlie. Appears as everybody's up, so we're going to go ahead and set our autopilot on heading mode of 170. Wow. Set our altitude for 3,500. Lamps are up, that's good. Kind of letting the autopilot figure out what it's doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly south around the tip of the coast Roger that.
Yes, for Canada 57, that's 357.
Canada 57 clear.
Clear, and that's room for Canada 57, thank you.
So that the idea is we're flying over around the tip of this particular set of mountains, kind of give us a bit more of a scenic tour of this part of Italy.
What do you think about 015 heavy? August, and then sleep over Second the waypoint? Second, Alpha Kilo Alpha Lima Maka. Direct Maka, 015, thank you.
Okay, we're at cruise altitude. I will set cruise power that everybody can keep up. Current heading is 160 degrees. In a few moments, we will adjust heading to 090. It's a nice part of the world, I'll say that. Nice looking part of the world. Absolutely. Alright, we're going to go ahead and adjust heading to 090 as we get towards this little, I don't know what you call it, this part of the shoreline. So we'll adjust that to 090. We are at cruise altitude of 3,500 feet. Trying to maintain a... lower the speed just a bit. Trying to maintain somewhere around 112 knots indicated. Yeah, this airplane with its prop just sounds like an angry weed whacker. Absolutely stunning. Now that's a formation, if I've ever seen one. Got some real good flyers out today. East USA, 6 knots. Some P-51s, Spitfires, Hurricanes, They would all look amazing. No, wrong button. There we go. Alright, so now that we're clear of most of the terrain, we're going to set heading at 040. So now we start going up the eastern coast of the tip of the boot of Italy.
Remain on my frequency for a few more minutes.
Just incredible. And views like this only reinforce my belief that the drone camera is one of the best additions to this flight sim. I mean, not only as someone that likes to take pictures, but as a streamer, and you have people following along. You can set scenes up and just watch, and it's amazing. Uh-oh, I hear noises. Gibbo Ireland just subscribed. Many thanks, my friend. I do appreciate it. You're welcome along. Schizo Paranoid just subscribed. Many, many thanks. You all have my humblest of thanks. I hope you are enjoying the stream. Oh, for sure. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Request 9 for level 330.
Evo 068, square 50330.
Next leaving for level 310, climbing 330, you are 068.
And just that you can see the currents in the water, and it's just so good. And you get those people that want to complain about the niggly bits. It's like, the niggly bits will get worked out. I have no doubt of that, but it's, for what it is, it's great. Getting in the queue for newer controllers or investing in a new monitor. Went for 4K. Oof. Yeah, having the wider screen, the I don't know if that's 21:9. Well, that's 4K, so it's not. I've got a 21:9 monitor, and it's so helpful for flight sim because you get that little bit of extra visibility out the front. Yeah. Yeah, as long as you have the basic controls and you have what you need as far as that goes, you know, it doesn't hurt to splurge in a couple other places. But having the visibility it's so huge with flight sim. Because you guys don't see it because my stream's just standard 1080p. Was it 1920 by 1080 resolution? But on my actual monitor, it's 2160 by 1080. So I get a little bit of extra room, and it's amazing how a little extra room can make a big difference. When it comes to, especially for flight sim, I don't know as it has too much advantages or too many advantages when it comes to other kinds of games, but for flying, it's a huge asset. And one of the best parts about flight sim is it's so relaxing. Whether you're watching or flying, it's just, I mean, unless you're flying in some pretty nasty weather where you really have to concentrate, it's pretty relaxing. I tried to pronounce about where we're at, but it's all in Italian, and I could probably figure something out. Like there's Bolivino, Marina di Sant'Larino, Sant'Larino, Lario, Sant Lario, Dell'Orino, and Dore Marina. But it's all in Italian, and I'm probably butchering that very badly. But it's a service I provide at no extra cost, just for you fine people. Let's see, we've got in view 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like I'm missing something. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aha, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus means 8. So there'll be a few of us here. 9. That might make 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He makes 10. I'm away off your 9 o'clock, looking at the coast. Roger that. So we have at least a fair handful of us, and which I am eternally grateful for you all flying with me. Makes it much more exciting. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere off to the 9 o'clock. It's excellent flying by everyone tonight. Everybody's doing a fantastic job. My job's easy. I have the autopilot set. So, fun fact about this last stop that we're going to be making, it's a military airfield. So, let's not get shot down. I do believe I called them up and said, hey, we're going to be landing, and we need a place to land. And they're very accommodating. Their only requirement was that we had a meal. Because you got to eat. You're getting too skinny. I'm going to hop in the cockpit for a little bit. So we're going to adjust heading to about 010. Kind of get closer to the coast. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Heading 010. As everybody reconnoiters. And these group flights are getting bigger. Now, don't fret, because if it seems like you're not on the screen for a lot of these screenshots that I'm taking right now, it's very possible that you are. It's just not showing on the stream because of the difference in resolution. Real nice flying by everybody. So go ahead and pop in the cockpit. If I can get in the right window. Absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful.
Control, Thomas Cook 580 Hotel, request right, heading 310, initially, to avoid weather.
Hope everyone has had a good weekend, as it is Sunday evening on many of us. Just started going into the evening hours here where I am. And I do hope everyone has a good upcoming week. I believe tomorrow, Two-Tone Murphy and crew will be continuing on the Top Gear based Vietnam special. And I don't know, it's either the last part or the next to last part. We're getting close. And we're a user by the name of Jeppesen 2001 has made a pretty awesome scenery specifically for this trip that has the bar that the Top Gear crew ended at. And we're going to have a bit of a water taxi challenge to see who gets there first. Two more legs. So, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in watching, be sure to follow Two-Tone Murphy on YouTube and Twitch. Two-Tone is a very good presenter, a very good person, and a very generous dude. So I certainly hope that you tune in for it. It's been quite fun going through it as just flying along. Charlie Egan, welcome. Hello. Happy Sunday evening. I hope you've had a good weekend. So as we approach the magenta line once more, we will turn it back onto nav mode. We will maintain altitude. We're roughly 19 minutes out. But yeah, definitely stay tuned to Murphy's channel. He got a lot of things, good, exciting things coming up, and it'll be fun to participate and watch, and you should watch it too, because if you like my streams, you'll love his streams. He's a lot more exciting than I am, but in a still very chilled out and relaxed, casual environment. If you like my content, you'll love his. I can't remember if it's this week or next week. I think it's next week is the big US update. Not sure. I don't think they've released the full notes of what new areas they're adding. I know they released a trailer and they listed off a few points, but a surprisingly small number of points considering how big the United States is. So it'll be interesting to see how what areas they update. I'm very particularly and very much biasedly interested to see what they do with the state of Michigan. But I'm also not going to hold my breath. But I'm excited for the content regardless. I think that was on the list. I think Vegas was on. I think they showed Vegas in the trailer. The last couple times I tried to check out Vegas, I had just crashed the desktops, and I just didn't want to fuss with it. So I haven't really gone back. I have checked out the Grand Canyon. I don't know if they're... I'd imagine that they might do something with that. I know that they're going to do... I think they might do something with Monument Valley. And I forget where else they listed off that they were going to update. Well, as awesome as the photogrammetry has been, even if you really have to have, or at least I cannot get it to not look like blocks, like just weird blocks, without turning some of the LOD settings and whatnot, building detail settings, really high, which I can't sustain frame rates on to get it looking anywhere remotely realistic. If I've actually considered turning off photogrammetry until, you know, something happens and I can actually run it and not have it look weird. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go re-engage nav mode since we're right on the old magenta line. We're about 15 minutes from the destination. Which equates to about 21 nautical miles. As everybody scrambles to keep up. But yeah, I'm really excited. I personally feel strongly that they should have focused on, say, Europe before they retouched the United States. Just because it's, by and large, the U.S. isn't that bad. A few issues here and there, but in large part, the places like Ireland and Scotland and Britain and Wales and the rest of Europe really need, I feel like they need a bit more help and a little bit more retouching before America does. That's just my own humble opinion. I even say that as an American. But I am indeed interested to see what they do. And one day soon or Sunday noon, we'll have some sort of method of air-to-air communications in the sim. That would be a fun little immersion edition. I do hope everyone is keeping hydrated. I am, again, grateful for everyone following along, whether you're flying or simply watching. It means an awful lot to me. Pardon me.
Good morning, contact.
So we should be coming up on to the airport fairly soon. We're about 10 minutes out. We're up just under 20 miles, nautical miles. We are on the last leg, unfortunately. This is going to be the final stop for the evening at a military airport. And it's kind of on the, what's it, the, kind of the, No, it's kind of the toe part of the foot. Almost to the, yeah, well, no, actually, yeah, just before the arch of the boot of Italy, as it were. Not quite to the arch, just before the arch of the foot. Almost the ball of the foot, I suppose. Let's see. The name of this airport that we're going to be landing at is Crotone. It's a military airport. If I had thought of a plan better, I would like to, there's Salerno, would like to check out where Monte Cassino is. That is an excellent question. What runway are we landing on? Well, how about we land on runway 35? Looking at the chart, we'll land on runway 35. So we're getting awfully close. The field elevation is 522 feet. We're about just under 7 minutes, 13 nautical miles out. I do like the SR-22. I'm not crazy about the amount of visibility it has. It's fairly restricted. You know, it has just very thick support pillars, if you will, for like the doors and such, and it's just, you know, even this it's vastly superior visibility wise. And even comparing it to the 172, it's a lot worse. The 172's got a fairly thin support pillar for the door, but all in all, the SR-22 is a nice little airplane. It's just the visibility problems that I don't really enjoy that much. Okay, so we're going to We're gonna drop like a rock, get to pattern altitude. So the airfield is going to be right about in here. Let's see, 3. We're going to turn to heading 060. Turn on heading mode. To allow us a better approach to runway 33. Excuse me, 35. So we need to go to 080. My bad. As we've effectively dropped to pattern altitude. See, look at all of my fans. I just had to go to Italy. Alright, runway is in sight. So I'll get down, get parked up and shut down, then get the camera positioned. So that I can record the landings. Go ahead and turn the autopilot off. So everybody get in a holding pattern whilst I get set up, landed and set up. One notch of flaps go in. Well, I appreciate that, bad dog. You're a good dog. It's appreciated none either way. We'll put that last notch of flaps in. Nice stable approach. Threshold, keys, number. A little bit of a flow. Oh, wait. The stall. Oh, there we go. Alright, let me get parked up, shut down. And get the camera set up and the name tags on. Park it there. And off. Avionics off. Lights off. We're shutting her all down. Hit the continue button. And get to name tags, turn them on. Warhamster in Scotland, a little early on the landings. And the runway is cleared for landings. We'll see who comes in first. Looks like it's Canadian Taz. Nice stabilized approach. Nicely done. Nicely done. Next up is Catbat, followed closely by Fast Pete. A nice touchdown by Catbat. Then Fast Pete, and shortly followed by Erlansky. Nicely done, Catback. Nicely done, Pete. Erlansky doing real nice. Very nice touchdown. 6 knots. Next up. Nicely done, 6 knots. as we wait on USA PR1, Tortuga, and Red Dragon. Looks like Tortuga will be next. They did do a fantastic job, did they not? There's Tortuga coming in. There's a Brick also coming in, USA PR. Very nice by USB, by both of you, Tortuga and USA PR. You take it easy, Pete. Thanks for coming along. Happy to have you. So we have Red Dragon in next. I do my best. I'm just glad that y'all enjoy it. Red Dragon coming in. Hopefully with the gear down. There it is. And we're down. Nicely done. Next up is Brick. Y'all did a fantastic job with the formation flying. I'm very impressed. Steelers are winning and some great landings. Well, congrats to the Steelers doing well. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. As Brick comes in with his landing. Last one, it seems, for the day. Right on the center line. Nicely done. Only a slight bounce, didn't even get back airborne. Well done, everybody, on the landings. Y'all did a fantastic job and should be proud of yourselves. Well, many thanks to all again to those of you that joined on the flight. Very happy that you joined us. For those of you that just watch, we're glad you joined us too. Anyone else? Fit an emergency engine. Well, you did a good job from what I could tell. But thank you all for coming along and watching the stream. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. I hope the upcoming week goes well for you. I will be back live so long as everything comes together, I will be back live on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern or 2000 Zulu. You can see me from time to time on Two-Tone Murphy's group flights on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2000 Irish time. So until next time, be good to each other, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.